everyone, I'm Liz from Quality Estate Agents.
I'm Alex from Quality Estate Agents.
And today we're just going to have a quick chat really about sort of our process in referencing tenants, and then when it comes to sort of the move-in dates, all of our processes. It is a common question that we get asked by most landlords is, how are you referencing my tenants? You know, how are you making sure that the tenant moving in is going to, you know, pay the rent on time, be a good tenant and keep the property nice and tidy?
Right. Sounds interesting. Good podcast. I often get asked that question. And so we thought we'd do a podcast, didn't we? And so landlords can actually see us talking about how we reference the tenants, how we pick a tenant. I mean, where's it all start?
Well, first, obviously, the main place it starts is when tenants are looking on the portals.
Right.
So first step, when the property goes onto the relevant portals, when the tenant inquires on that property, they'll get emailed straight away with a little application form. This application form just asks them general questions. Are you employed? What's your income? What's your household's annual income? Do you have any children? Do you have a guarantor? Do you have any pets? This allows us to sort of pre-approve that applicant before we get to the viewing stage.
That's good.
So we're not wasting any time in showing people around who aren't applicable for the property. It might be that the landlord doesn't want pets. It might be that the landlord 100% wants a guarantor. It might be that the landlord wants the tenant to earn a certain income to rent the property.
We've had a few that have failed income, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a chap the other week, he applied for a £1,200 a month rent. I think he earned 30,000. It's kind of, those figures are not adding up, are they? And I had to tell him what he could apply for. I said, you're probably looking about the 800 mark.
Yeah.
So it's pointless us wasting our time showing people around and wasting their time as well.
Some tenants
it
don't
works
know.
both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, some tenants don't know. They assume that they can afford for something, and then when it's put across to them, actually, I think if you did rent this property out, you might struggle financially. It's our job not only to ensure the tenant pays for the landlord, but ensure the tenant's not under any financial strain.
Well, of course, because it's easy to point the finger at us, isn't it, if we've let someone in a property who clearly cannot afford the rent. So you've screened the tenant, you've done the viewing, and you've got a few prospective tenants who say, yes, I'd like to go ahead. What's your process then?
Well, once obviously we've got all their details and they filled out the pre-application form, we'll sort of give the landlord or landlady a call and say, these are the tenants we've got, Mr. X, Mrs. X, go through all the details, and then it's up to them for the owners of the property to decide who they want to put forward through to referencing.
When you're showing people around, because we actually do the viewings, don't we? And we found a lot of agents haven't got the time to do the viewing, so the employed door openers don't they? Yeah. And I can remember when I was looking at houses to buy for investors, and I'd asked a question and they just shrugged the shoulders.
No, well, I had the same. Asked the one a question, I don't know, just open the doors, mate.
Yeah, and a lot of prospective tenants have told us this. They've always liked our approach, that we're always there to give information. I mean, I can remember showing someone around, it was just the other day, and I said, well, you're a couple of minutes off the A50, you're out on junction 16, and I gave him the entire rundown on the area. And this tenant, no one's ever told me that before. So it is good when we open the doors. Are we judging people? That's the question.
And a lot of tenants don't realise this. It's almost a little bit like a job interview. You know, when you turn up to your job interview, you would come across a certain way, you know, make sure you're present yourself in a certain way. And it's the same thing when you're showing people around, really, and that's the importance of having the agent who's looking after the property, that's showing the tenant around rather than a door opener who doesn't have a say in who's moving in. That feedback wouldn't relay back to the agent renting the property out, whereas us doing the viewings, we're sort of Judging them slightly, because obviously you can't judge everyone, can't judge a book by a cover, but you know, a lot of things do come into play when we're showing the tenant round, you know, certain things they might say, who are they turning up on the viewing with, etc.
Yeah, I like it when they turn up with mum and dad.
Yeah, it's always.
I kind of love them. I'm thinking, yeah, you've got it. If your mum and dad are coming along, you've got it. I had one the other week, the entire family had come. Oh, there was mum, dad, there was sister, I think that one of the grandparents were there. Bit of a squeeze, but I like it when the family get involved, because it does show they're going to be a good tenant, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it does show they're going to be a good tenant. I mean, you can't always judge it on who they turn up with, because not everyone has a family to...
So you've got your tenant then, and you've now put them through referencing. And how's that referencing work then?
So we put our tenants, so once we've got sort of someone pre-approved, the landlord's happy to go forward with them, we would take an initial holding deposit off them.
Right, I get you.
That just, the problem when you don't take a holding deposit is the tenant, there's no guarantees there.
Disappears.
So the tenant could carry on searching.
Yeah.
It might be that they found something cheaper or found something they prefer closer to where they want to be, and you think, oh well, I haven't paid anything, so I'm just going to toddle off to this property and say goodbye to that other house.
Absolutely.
Whereas at least with the money there, it also shows us who's serious and who's not serious. Because in the past, when we have pre-approved someone and asked for a holding deposit, in the past some people haven't paid it. And that just shows, well, you were never serious in the first place, and you were never intending on having the house, just using it as a backup. So we get the holding deposit, and then we put them through a third-party referencing company.
Okay.
So their sole job is referencing. So what they do is they'll do a credit search on them, credit check. They'll check their employment details, so give their employer a call, make sure they're employed. They will...
Landlord's check?
Yeah, they do a landlord's check.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
They do a landlord's check.
Do bank statements.
Yeah, they do. They run the bank statements through a system, because I must say, the other week we had a case of a fraudulent bank statements. You know, they run them through a system. They were adamant that case was dead, it was cold, couldn't revive it, move on. So yeah, they can do a lot more than us.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot more than us.
Well, that's what they're trained to do.
Well, that's what they're paid to do.
Yeah.
And so the references come back accepted.
Yeah, there's a few different... sometimes the references can come back fully accepted, which is great. Other times it might come back and say accepted with a guarantor, so in which case we need to ensure that that tenant's got a guarantor and we're getting a guarantor in place. And obviously in other cases it can be a straightforward fail.
That's it, yeah. And sometimes it comes back, I've seen it with rent guarantee.
Yeah.
Where they... Go on, you explain the rent guarantee.
That's only if the landlord asks for the rent guarantee. So obviously with just your standard referencing, and when you are renting the property out to the tenant, there's no 100% guarantees with any tenant that they're going to pay the rent, that they're going to keep the property
many
tidy.
tenants, the best of tenants can go rogue. We've had tenants in the past, we haven't had many to be fair, we've had a couple, which is quite good. But we did have that one, ticked all the boxes, didn't she? Then went rogue.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Absolute nightmare. And she only lived across the road. Made it even worse. But all turned well out. All turned good in the end. I mean, the guarantor paid everything up.
Yeah.
The landlords claimed off their insurance, so they actually got paid out twice. And yeah, it was all good in the end, but it could have gone the other way.
Yeah, if the landlord chooses rent guarantee, which you may as well, in all fairness, all it is the company, the referencing company we use, will reference the tenant, and providing all the references come back okay, then they'll provide a rent guarantee.
How long does that last for?
18 months. Yeah, 18 months. It guarantees for any rent arrears. So as soon as that tenant's in, so say 1st of December, the tenant misses the first rental payment. 1st of January, that insurance is paying out straight away for your rent. So it's not even like you're waiting months to get this rent come
30
in.
days, I
It's
think,
within
isn't it?
30 days,
Yeah,
they're paying that
30
rent up
days.
to 18 months. Any legal fees, if you have to evict the tenant, that insurance company is paying out for your legal fees.
And any damages at the end
And
once
any
they've been
damages,
evicted.
malicious damage, isn't it? Any
Yeah,
malicious
that's
damage
it.
by a
It's
tenant.
quite a good cover
it'll
policy,
cover.
and it's only 3% of the monthly rent, isn't it?
3% of the monthly rent, which when you work it out equates to
On an
hardly
average
anything.
£800 a month rental, I think it was £24 a month.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad insurance policy, to be fair. Obviously we do as much as we can do to make sure the tenants are good tenants and not go rogue.
Yeah.
But circumstances beyond the tenant's control can mean the tenant is no longer affording to pay the rent. Once the tenant's gone down that route, it can be difficult for the tenant to actually move out, unless they've got family who's going to take them on, isn't it? You know, so it can be difficult. So you've got your tenant, you've got them approved. What's your next procedure?
So next step then, once we've got the tenant all approved, is we'll ask the tenant for their preferred move-in date, providing that's obviously okay with the landlord. We'll set that move-in date, send them out the contracts with all the compliance, so your gas, EICR, EPC, so we make sure the landlord's compliant, of course.
So you're all paperless then?
Oh yeah, we're all paperless.
Yeah,
We've got to be in today's day, haven't we? We can't be sending out paper, can we?
Some still do. I've got to ask the questions. That's always good, because it means we've got the audit trail
it's
as well,
audited
doesn't it?
just in case, because a lot of landlords again don't know this, that if the landlord did need to evict the tenant with a section 21 in the courts, they will want to see that we've, or the landlord, has sent out certain documentation. So have you sent the gas cert? Have you sent the how to rent guide? Have you sent the deposit prescribed information? And with that audit, it keeps it all there, saying, yep, they have sent it. The same with the contract. It tells us when they've opened the contract, at what time, when they sign it, the date and the sign. It's all time stamped, so it's actually much better sending them out electronically than it is paper.
Paper, absolutely, totally agree. So the tenant moves in, come to the office, sign everything,
just to track back a little bit, we'll again, landlords don't have to get involved in this. We'll update all the utilities, so your gas, electric, water, council tax, I think that's it. Provide them with the meter readings. So yeah, we've moved the tenant in, saved the tenant that hassle, and saved the landlord the hassle of calling up and having to wait on the phone for ages to utility companies. And then the tenant comes into the office, collect the keys, and yeah, happy days, all sorted, signed up.
That's absolutely fantastic. We'll just go through a quick case we had a couple of weeks ago when he did actually get approved, didn't he? And he was already raising the red flags, and we didn't particularly want to put him through to referencing, didn't really see the point, but he rang up moaning, and he answered a few questions regards the red flags, didn't he? So what we said to him, said, well, okay, we'll put you through referencing, see what comes back. And funny enough, the referencing company did approve him, but were asking us to then verify his income. And his problem was, we were hoping they would get rid of the red flags, but the red flags were still there, weren't they? And those red flags, we get paid in cash by a care industry. He's got no bank account and living with friends. So not even a landlord's reference. It's just not going to happen, is it?
No, if there's no proof that he even gets paid, you know.
Yeah, and we tried being nice to the guy, because I said, listen, you need to get yourself a bank account. You need to have your wages paid into your bank account. I'm sure you're not living rent free, so pay that person whatever they're charging you out of your bank account. And then you've got landlord's reference, you've got money coming, wages coming into your bank account, and you have a bank account. He took the hump, didn't he? Didn't like it, but we have to protect the landlords, and sometimes if we don't agree with the referencing company, we're going to stick up, aren't we, for the landlord? Because I do check all the applications, don't I? Even if the reference company is approved, we do then screen them. There was one the other day, wasn't it, approved, but we asked for the 6 months bank statements.
Yes, yeah.
So we could just go through the bank statement. So we're happy. is A, the rent's been paid on time, and B, the wages are coming in. You know, and the bank account's conducted satisfactory.
Yeah.
So that's how we process tenants, isn't it?
And to be fair, it's quite, just to end on this, it's quite a quick process with the referencing company. A lot of landlords and tenants assume that this referencing can take like a month before.
It can take a day, can't it?
Can take a day if the tenant's quick and on the ball and contacts their employer and says, right, I've got, you know, can you get back to this reference? Contacts the landlord, can you get back to this reference? I need it doing, you know, ASAP so I can move out or move in to my new house. And we do put a time scale on that regarding the references, a time scale of 3 days, so we expect the referencing to come back within 3 days, and that just protects the landlord in having to wait too long for the referencing. And it means if it is after 3 days it's failed, or you know the tenant's not managed to provide the documents, and then we're back referencing the next person down the list.
Got no choice,
No, and it's just
because it can drag on for weeks if you're not careful. It can, and the problem with referencing, once a prospective tenant has taken you beyond a week, you feel obliged to stick with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that easy to then go, we can't wait any longer. Because you feel you're close. And it's a bit like the carrot dangling, isn't it, really? So you wait another day and another day and another day. And yeah, we've had cases like that, but no, now we have a 3-day rule.
Yeah.
I think now we've covered the
Yeah, I
referencing,
think that's
how we
everything.
pick a tenant, haven't
Yeah, we have.
Great, would you want
Yeah, so I think that's everything. So obviously, if any of you watching have got any questions, want to drop us a message, give us a call, then feel free. Our contact details are all in the description. Then don't forget to like and subscribe to this video so you can keep on the lookout for more landlord podcasts. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.